We are very honored to have two recognitions of two key components of the staff members of Seattle Public Schools this evening. And we'll begin with a presentation on Teacher Appreciation Week from our superintendent, Dr. Maria Goodloe Johnson.
Great, thank you very much. Good evening. Tonight it's my great pleasure to thank all of our teachers, more than 3,000. We know that excellent instruction in every classroom is the key to student achievement. Our teachers demonstrate their commitment, dedication, skill, and passion every day, and sometimes they receive public acknowledgement for their accomplishments. We've prepared a PowerPoint presentation to show the pride we have in their accomplishments. They have excelled in many fields, from excellence in music and special education to Japanese language, from history and international studies to the environment, and from career and technology education, to technology. So I encourage you to visit our website to view these celebrations. These teachers are representative of the thousands of teachers throughout Seattle Public Schools who invest their careers and hearts to help students succeed. This is the heart of our work. So I want to take 5 minutes to share with you a story that has inspired, motivated, and humbled me and many others. It's a direct reminder of why teachers do the work that they do. So, Teddy's story. Jean Thompson stood in front of her 5th grade class on the very first day of school in the fall and told the children a lie. Like most teachers, she looked at her pupils and said that she loved them all the same, that she would treat them all alike, and that was impossible because there in front of her, slumped in his seat on the 3rd row, was a little black boy named Teddy Stoddard. Mrs. Thompson had watched Teddy the year before and noticed he didn't play well with the other children, that his clothes were unkept, and that he constantly needed a bath, and Teddy was unpleasant. It got to the point during the first few months that she would actually take delight in marking his papers with a broad red pen, making bold X's, and then marking the F at the top of the paper, biggest of all. Because Teddy was a sullen little boy, no one else seemed to enjoy him either. At the school where Mrs. Thompson taught, she was required to review each child's records and put Teddy's off until last. When she opened his file, she was in for a surprise. His 1st grade teacher wrote, "Teddy is a bright, inquisitive child with a ready laugh. He does his work neatly and has good manners. He's a joy to be around." His 2nd grade teacher wrote, "Teddy is an excellent student, well liked by his classmates, but he is troubled because his mother has a terminal illness and life at home must be a struggle." His 3rd grade teacher wrote, "Teddy continues to work hard, but his mother's death has been hard on him. He tries to do his best, but his father doesn't show much interest, and his home life will soon affect him if some steps aren't taken." Teddy's 4th grade teacher wrote, "Teddy's withdrawn and doesn't show much interest in school. He doesn't have many friends and sometimes sleeps in class. He is tardy and could become a problem." By now, Mrs. Thompson realized the problem, but Christmas was coming fast. It was all she could do with the school play and all until the day before the holidays began, and she was suddenly forced to focus on Teddy Stoddard. Her children brought her presents, all in beautiful ribbon and bright paper, except for Teddy's, that was clumsily wrapped in the heavily brown paper of a scissored grocery bag. Mrs. Thompson took pains to open it in the middle of the other presents. Some of the children started to laugh when she found a rhinestone bracelet with some of the stones missing and a bottle that was 1/4 full of cologne. She stifled the children's laughter when she exclaimed how pretty the bracelet was, putting it on and dabbing some of the perfume behind the other wrist. Teddy Stoddard stayed behind just long enough to say, "Mrs. Thompson, today you smell just like my mom used to." After the children left, she cried for at least an hour. On that very day, she quit teaching, reading, and writing, and speaking. Instead, she began to teach children. Jean Thompson paid particular attention to the one they all called Teddy. As she worked with him, his mind seemed to come alive. The more she encouraged him, the faster he responded. On days there would be an important test, Mrs. Thompson would remember that cologne. By the end of the year, he had become one of the smartest children in the class. And well, he had also become the pet of the teacher who had once vowed to love all of her children exactly the same. A year later, she found a note under her door from Teddy, telling her that of all the teachers he'd had in elementary school, she was his favorite. 6 years went by before she got another note from Teddy. He then wrote that he had finished high school, third in his class, and she was still his favorite teacher of all time. 4 years after that, she got another letter saying that while things had been tough at times, he'd stayed in school and had stuck with it and would graduate from college with the highest honors of all. He assured Mrs. Thompson she was still his favorite teacher. Then 4 more years passed and yet another letter came. This time he explained that after he got his bachelor's degree, he decided to go a little further. The letter explained that she was still his favorite teacher, but that now his name was a little longer. The letter was signed Theodore F. Stoddard, M.D. The story doesn't end there. You see, there was yet another letter that spring. Teddy said he'd met this girl and was to be married. He explained that his father had died a couple years ago, and he was wondering, well, if Mrs. Thompson might agree to sit in the pew, usually reserved for the mother of the groom. And guess what? She wore that bracelet, the one with silver rhinestones missing, and I bet on that special day, Jean Thompson smelled just like, well, just like the way Teddy remembered his mother, smiling on their last Christmas together. The moral, you can never tell what type of impact you can make on another's life by your actions or lack of inaction. Consider this fact in your venture through life. Take time to remember the little things that can be very important. Yesterday is history, today is a mystery, tomorrow is a mystery, today is a gift. That's why they call it the present. Our teachers give so many presents to all of our students. I felt like this was a very appropriate salute to thank every single teacher in Seattle Public Schools. Thank you.